Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the SpyParty Summer Cup Quarterfinals of 2022. We've got some good ones tonight, but first of all, thanks to Legorv Janine for rescuing us a little bit after we lost a host. And thanks a ton for Mega Parsec, who's casting with me tonight.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. As Taboshi said, these are some very exciting matches, and I cannot wait to see what these players are up to.
So we got two for you tonight. Again, this is the quarterfinals of the SpyParty Summer Cup. We're going to have Miniarek versus C-Rams later tonight, but we're going to start things off with Nebula versus Adafheyesh. I don't know quite how to pronounce that, but I tried.
Adafheyesh, I believe.
That does sound better. So, here is where we stand. We've got quarterfinals is, I believe, first to 9?
That sounds correct, yes.
Correct. We have a first to 9 format, 16 games in regular time. And there's a potential overtime format should that need arise. I've got the draft on screen. We have Redwoods, High Rise, Red Aaron, Ballroom, Aquarium, Terrace, Gallery, and Library.
Overtime is always wild, as you guys know, but we will cross that bridge if and when we get to it. First things first, we've got some Redwoods to play. We're going to start things off with Nebula on the spy side versus Ada on the sniper. Let's get this thing underway in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, Redwoods to start things out is an interesting one. Obviously, it's not a draft as such. There's a set pool of venues that people play in order, and so knowing that everyone's going to have to start off with Redwoods is interesting because not everyone really likes this venue. There's a lot of trees in the way.
Yeah, it's definitely a hard venue to start off with as the sniper. That said, Nebula on the spy is getting things done pretty quick. We got an early blue bookcase visit that let us 51% on the flirt and blue microfilm in pocket. We're not currently on a pad, but it's fine. Yeah. It looked good.
You can't
and now
tell,
we're off
really.
the red bookcases to get a couple of inspects and maybe drop this microfilm off.
We're pretty hidden on the sniper side as Ada's paying mostly attention to the ambassador, so...
Oh, this is so cheeky! I love this so much!
Beautiful!
Just barely outside of the conversation circle, but it looks like he's able to get the transfer while he's talking in conversation pretty much, and steps away after that. That's the microfilm done. All he's got to do is put that book away, and he's got it clean.
That looked very practiced. I would bet that is something Nebula has been practicing for a while, knowing exactly where to stop there, where you don't count as in conversation to get that sneaky transfer. And normally I would say that, it's tough to do animation transfers if you're taking the book out at any point, but with the 2 flirt and the animation and the book ready to go back with no further animations, I'd say our pacing is still pretty solid here.
Yeah, getting the 2 flirt is always really nice. So that's a mission done already. This should be the second as we put this book away. And a pair of inspects on top of that is going to put us in a pretty good place time-wise. Mind you, we only have 1 minute and 15 seconds left, but we've got some good pace.
Assuming the double agent is polite to us and actually joins a conversation, since that's usually one of the missions you're going to be counting on. Yeah, it looks like we're going to finish inspects now and then hope for a contact to finish things off. And I'd say if we get that without having to time out or change our plans, I think it's unlikely that Adafheyesh is going to shoot here.
Yeah, I think so too. But as you say, it's very possible that we're not going to be able to make this contact happen if the double agent doesn't play nice. She hasn't been through most of this game, and she's still not going to bookcases. I think we're going to have to find another plan here.
Yeah, we did pick up a briefcase there, both because it was required by etiquette and possibly as a speculative other way of finishing, but we missed the difficult print, so that's not really an option. Looks like we're eyeing up Bug now, but there's not a lot of cover, I don't think, beyond the trees themselves.
No timeout on the watch check. We've got 10 seconds. Double agent joins conversation. We go in, take the contact. I don't think Ada's going to be able to be on top of this. 5 seconds to go. No
really
big reaction. Overtime comes off, but it's not enough. And Nebula is able to take game number 1 with style.
Yeah, really nice game there, and a good thing that Nebula didn't have to go for a backup plan there, because I think it's likely that Ada would have shot if Nebula had gone for a bug there. But fortunately, BA slid into convo at just the right time and let Nebula get the reward for his very sneaky transfer.
Yeah, that was a beautiful game. It got a little bit tight with the double agent at the end there, but it worked out. And that's Nebula with a very early spy win, and now stepping into the sniper side versus Ada's spy in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Little bit of spinning around as we leave AI control and try to find a productive place to start off, not wanting to start off at Blue Books where the AI was taking us.
Well, it's time of chaos. It's pretty easy to get away with stuff like that. Luckily, we were able to get the inspect on that left statue before it was picked up, so both the inspects have come away fairly cleanly.
Yep, sneaky little inspecting before we pick up the book to make sure that we can get that, because otherwise it was going to be too late and we weren't going to get both inspects. And getting both inspects off of a bookcase visit on Redwoods is very important. It vastly increases the number of places you can go for finishing inspects.
Absolutely. Didn't get anything done with the book, but we didn't really need to at that point. In conversation, we go with the seduction target, so that's 51% off the first flirt. Now the question is, where do we go next? It looks like off towards the ambassador to try to set up some shenaniganry over here.
No bug, and it looked like Nebula was watching it well enough to not know, or to know that there wasn't a bug there.
Good redirect off the briefcase as well. And we get an interesting spot next to the ambassador here in this conversation. We might be in a good position for a reverse drive-by, depending on where the ambassador goes on their way out.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what Ada's setting up for here, since they've got a lot of other mission progress available. Just speculatively, okay, but we don't take it. I was on sniper view, so I couldn't see what the path was, but I presume if we didn't even take it, the amber was nowhere close enough for it to work.
It was actually a really good path for the reverse drive-by. I'm surprised Ada didn't pull the trigger on it, but didn't wind up happening, so out we go to try to finish up this flirt. A little bit too far away to get it done in 2, which is a shame because he does hit the green test, so 94% on the flirt right now. Also in conversation with the double agent with 1:10 to play.
Yeah, I think if you want to get this with a mission win, you kind of gotta, okay, we're not taking the contact.
No, it's going to be a time ad first.
Okay, that makes sense. So still an acknowledgement of how little time is left and finding a way to change that, not by changing your pacing, but by adding time. And it looks like low lights are being taken for that.
Yeah, that time
low
ad
light
was
on
caught.
Us.
Oh no, it's a red test!
And we were the only, like, even if
wow,
it wasn't...
Nebula snapped on that. He was on top of it.
Well, I think we were also the only person with time ad suspicion that was in for the BB, so even if that wasn't the red test, I suspect we might not have been shot immediately, but I think Ada was a dead spy walking in any case.
Yeah, I think so. I really like the idea on the time ad. They knew they were behind, they had to get a little bit more on the clock, wanted to get it done before the beep beep started, but just got caught out on it.
Yeah, bit of a a necessary play with the pacing and the rest of it. Redwoods, a deceptively hard venue to pace, deceptively large, and if you don't get your mission progress early, it can be hard to find that fourth mission in time and force some unfortunate decisions.
Well, that's a big start from Nebula either way. They go up 2-0 and get ready to step into the spy side of High Rise next. 3 of 5 with no inspects, no swap, and no microfilm in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, Nebula likes to not have inspect on. This is not a mistake. Oh wow,
Oh, that's a
that's much more
very
interesting
early
than what I was
pearl, and would have
saying.
been nice to hit the green test there, but even on a white, that's pretty clean.
I don't think it's been noticed yet. Oh, if this hasn't been noticed, Nebula's in
Yeah,
such.
I think he just
Okay,
saw it.
just saw it. Yeah. Oh
Oh
nope. Okay,
my
Ada's on
god!
top of it. Nice.
I did not think Ada had that, but absolutely on top of things. The shot comes off, and that's a nice one too.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a confidence booster for sure.
Yeah, nice play from both sides, but Ada just a little bit more on top of it than Nebula was hoping.
And that will put Nebula on the sniper side of things versus Adafheyesh's spy on High Rise. This time with no fingerprint, no swap, and no microfilm. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, this one more of the traditional. Oh, speculative bug. It doesn't take, but we're not shot for it immediately, so.
I like the idea. There's just a little bit too much traffic in there.
I appreciate these players having the pacing to not let me finish what I'm saying about their setups, but just go for a hard tell in the first 5 seconds. It's very good to see.
It's always entertaining when people are moving at that pace. Unfortunately, not able to get that early flirt or the contact, both of those AI step away before we're able to make use of them. So we just sort of find ourselves in an innocent conversation to start off the game, and away we go to pick up this first flirt properly this time.
Also in with the DA, but I doubt we're going to take it just yet. A few too many people out of conversation at the moment.
Yeah, this is a venue where you can really hold out for some really good contacts. 51% on the flirt to start off the seduction is a nice find there. Here's the contact coming off.
Banana bread.
That should be 2 lowlights available, which is not
Both of
bad.
them taken. Yep. A little unfortunate about Teal because she had partial inspects and picked up a fingerprint, which doesn't matter. But now she's finishing her inspects. Could have been a potential frame or an AI finishing missions if she'd been willing to get into conversation for the BB. And I'm not sure why we're low lit, but I'm going to guess it bodes poorly for Ada.
Oh, that was a weird little bug coming through. Had to tuck in a bit too much, and the wrong arm just sort of wound up sticking out a lot farther than they would have liked. So Ada does wind up taking a bullet off the bug. Nebula maintains that 2-game lead.
Yeah, definitely an unfortunate, extremely visible bug. But, sometimes you have to make things happen. And bugs are a good way to make things happen if you can make them work.
Yeah. Honestly, even without that unfortunate little tuck in, that probably still wouldn't have worked when we lost the cover from Toby. But either way, that's how things went down. Onward to the next one we go. It's Modern. Any 4 of 8. Nebula on the spy, Ada on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. Nebula going to take a nice orthodox start here, just stepping in next to the selection target for the early flirt.
Waiting a while on taking it, though, which is interesting. Maybe trying to lose some heat, afraid of Ada flirt pairing or watching for early talks. No highlights in the party yet. Looks like not highlighting for bar or for partial statues from Ada.
That's unusual. Usually people pick one or the other of those to take highlights for. It's going to be interesting to see how Ada uses their highlights on this venue.
Yeah, possibly waiting for a mission completion, so 2 inspects, 2 fingerprints, bug credit, transfer credit. But no one's done that yet, as it's still very early on, and even Nebula only has 34% on the flirt so far.
Speaking of the flirt, it really looks like Nebula is just going to sit here and wait for the timer flirt, and indeed they do. It's a nice close green on the second one to bring us up to 85% with 3 minutes to play.
Still sitting in conversation here. Hopefully, we can find some other mission progress at some point, but DA's not particularly available, going for a briefcase here. Doesn't look like Nebula wants to do anything with statues or bar. Amba's not particularly buggable, although maybe now.
It was certainly a moment, but Ada was just in too good of a position to guard that, I think. Nebula probably wise not to pull the trigger on that, although time is certainly starting to tick away.
Yeah, right out in front and with no other conversations or players in front, it would likely have been a bug that got Nebula shot. But still no sign of where we're going next beyond going to Windows now. Maybe a time ad? That seems like
I kind of hope it
potentially a good
is.
idea, yeah.
Indeed, it is a time at a green test as well, so that's going to buy us a little bit of time and not the suspicion that often comes with it.
And then a briefcase as we are required, although it's a dead briefcase, which is very unfortunate.
It's
Hopefully,
unfortunate
Ada
indeed.
knows that and won't give us credit for a fingerprint we don't have. And it looks like, yeah, using highlights for at least inspect finishes, as Irish goes to her second, green dress goes for a second set of statues there and picks up a highlight for it.
Yeah, that was certainly a good call. Nebula's having a little bit of a struggle as far as pacing is concerned. It's a good thing this isn't a 5-of venue anymore.
Yes, indeed. I think a universally approved of change there, and certainly makes it a lot easier to actually get mission wins on this very large venue.
Oh,
And,
that's just a straight book slam. It looks like
yeah,
I gotta
into its
look at
hand,
it too.
yeah.
Yep, as soon as Nebula settles in conversation, the shot comes off, and Ada, after that first game, has really been holding it down on the sniper side.
Yeah, it's been not entirely Sniper Prody because there was that one very fun spy win on Redwoods by Nebula, but everything else I believe has been Sniper wins so far, which is not unexpected from players of this caliber.
Yeah, it seems like the better people get at this game, the more the snipers just win more and more often. And to both of these players' credit, they're both really very, very good at this game.
Yes, they are doing very, very strong spy games. It's just that each of them has a better sniper than their opponent's spy on average.
And it has been a true joy to watch. Ada now stepping into the spy side on Modern, looking for a chance to get this set tied up as Nebula steps in to the sniper side in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Starting out at statues is a little bit unusual. Usually you try to avoid that little bit of early heat that comes from an early mission location like this, but Ada just leaning into it a little bit.
Few people at bar there, and Nebula starting to take presumably pathing lowlights, known for being a bit of a pathing sniper, and we have a lowlight coming off on the ST who's going to statues, which could be very unfortunate if Ada decides to. Ooh, and a highlight on the spy.
That might be a bug credit, to be honest. It looked like Ada could have gotten away with it there, and Nebula, I think, maybe knows that, so that could be a big problem for Ada.
Lots of things it could have been. It could have been for I don't like the path, could have been I think you could have bugged, could have been I know you have statues finished. Either way, doesn't necessarily bode well for Ada unless it's purely a threat cracking highlight for I want to remember you have statues.
Yeah, it's just that little double take from Nebula that has me nervous. Either way, Ada stepping into conversation with the seduction target, picking up a quick 34% after getting done with the inspects. So the one mission completion is certainly nice to have, the highlight a bit less so.
Yep. It is definitely true that highlights make it substantially harder to get away with whatever else you're doing.
Even if the highlight's just to track whatever it is that's being tracked, having it there, just being glowing like you are, makes it everything you do just stand out a little bit more in the eyes of the sniper.
Yeah, interesting set of highlights. Looks like there's perhaps some bar tracking going on as well, so mixed highlights. But I trust Nebula to remember what each of them is for and, shoot spy if it comes down to it.
Absolutely.
The laser was very still and watchful when we were at Blue Book, so I would not be surprised to see if this book goes back wrong. Ada, correct identification of the real double agent. That could be a huge problem for Ada. Nebula noticing, hey, there hasn't been a contact yet. This is the DA who's been rude. Oh, okay, maybe lowering it now? Interesting. In any case.
I think that's 2 timer flirts in a row coming out of Ada. So the flirt is done, the inspect is done, we have a blue book in hand, and we still have a minute and 30 to play after all that. So this is moving along fairly nicely, especially if we can get something done with this book.
Yeah, I have no idea. I am personally suspecting that Ada is going to die if he puts the book back wrong. And okay,
all
we
it
die
took
on
was the
contact.
contact.
So there was some kind of heavy suspicion or threat there, whether it was for the bug credit or the bad path or just, I don't like the way you're moving.
Yeah. Nebula was very suspicious of Ada, and rightly so. A very strong shot coming off of Nebula. And it might, the way this is going, it might just be that first game catching Ada out that is going to be the difference. But there's still plenty of SpyParty left to be played. It's only 2 to 4 in a 16 game set. So as we step into Ballroom with Ada on the sniper and Nebula on the spy, there's still a lot of room to play with in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, there certainly is a lot of room to play with a longer set than has been than has been previously, and potentially over time if someone can manage to pull things back. And I hope we see that, because I think the overtime rules are interesting and good, and I think these players are certainly well enough matched that it's a distinct possibility.
A very nice little 51% flirt at a painting to open up the festivities here. Now in conversation with the double agent. Not for very long, though. It looks like we're just stepping in for a second flirt, although this is not going to be a good one. Green test or no, it's still just 76%.
Adafheyesh spending a lot of time on the long angles.
Oh, that was a gorgeous bug!
Oh wow, not good enough though.
See that? The ambassador went through the center of the conversation because his path was blocked by Toby, and somehow Ada was still on top of it.
Yeah, there's definitely a brief period of time where you can see it, but I'm still very impressed. Definitely a lot of both of these players going for bugs very heavily, knowing that that's a traceless hard tell, and if your opponent doesn't see it, you're generally going to win the game. Both players also being very willing to shoot for I saw you bug.
Absolutely. That was a very, very nice catch from Ada. The sniper play has just been absolutely top tier tonight. Hopefully, Ada can find a way through at one point to get this thing tied up, but if they keep going like this, there's a very good chance that Nebula is just going to be able to hold it down on the sniper side well enough to get it done. Let's see if they can keep the sniper streak going here on Ballroom against Ada's spy in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Ada played Wheels, which is an interesting choice, known for having a particularly bad bug, so probably not going to be aggressively pursuing bugs as they have been before. In fact, aggressively pursuing fingerprints, perhaps, as we go for this briefcase as soon as it's legal.
Absolutely. So getting an early print there is going to certainly give us a fair bit of options later down the line. Having that first one in the bank can be really helpful if things go a little bit awry timing wise, but Ada has not yet gotten a flirt and is not in a position to either.
No, not really, as our ST goes for first a briefcase and then side statues, and Ada, I think wisely not going to go in for middle statues and try to get a flirt before they leave.
Yeah, that would be pretty tight. Although seeing this seduction target step into a conversation that we just left is a little bit painful. We are going to step in, send a quick line their way for 51% and flee again off to the green bookcase. So that is progress and a green book in hand.
A fun attribute of Kane being shown off there. Kane will wait, generally speaking, twice as long in an empty conversation or 2 idle cycles in a conversation before leaving. Perhaps chosen as the ST for that reason, still not in time for Ada to come back and get another flirt immediately, but an interesting property on display there.
And was able to hit the green test on the animation transfer as well. So that's green microfilm in pocket and 51% on that flirt and a fingerprint. That said, only a minute and a half to play and no mission completions as of yet. We are going to step away to get this second flirt. It's not a green test though, so 85% is where that
taking
stands.
The immediate flirt, seeing the ST reaching for a drink and knowing that there's a distinct that it's likely that they'll leave after taking that drink, and so starting the flirt immediately, careless of whatever suspicion you might get, to just like try for that one flirt. And time adding again at 1 minute again. Let's see if Nebula is quite as on top of it as last time.
It's a good thing they did do that immediate flirt as well, because he did indeed step away after that drink, able to catch up with him at the windows to finish up the flirt with a minute and a half left to play after the time ad, and into center statues we go. This does have a difficult print on it, and he does hit it. So the print is now done off of a difficult.
We have interesting choices on our hands, because we could technically go for a silent game. We could go get our second transfer. I'm not sure if it's necessarily the wisest choice, considering we're now high-lit, and if you've been researching your opponent, it's likely that you'll know if you're high-lit for that sort of thing. We didn't actually finish. Interesting. So we're finishing now.
Yeah, lots of green tests off this game, but unfortunately after hitting that green on the fingerprint, not able to hit either of the greens on the inspects. So
we
by the
are
time
going
the two
in to
cycles
finish with
change,
microfilm and a silent game. Let's see if this works.
This is going to be really impressive if they're able to get it done. There's so much cover.
Oh, but not
absolutely
for that part.
Nothing to see from the sniper side until the very, very end of that animation. I think this is completely clean, and Ada actually gets one back from the spy side. It's 4-4.
Yeah, it's interesting. Both of the spy wins so far with animation transfer. Ada's slightly less tricky about it, not doing any fancy, pretend to be in conversation animations, but still a very solidly played game and a silent game, which is always fun to see. That can make the sniper more reluctant to shoot and gets away with it to tie it back up. Or
that was such good timing on that microfilm, with the amount of cover that was in that conversation that was diagonal to them and the position that Nebula was on the sniper. Ada knew that there was no way they were getting caught there. That was just beautiful play. Even on the white test.
Yeah, definitely. There was absolutely an angle Nebula could have been taking to watch for it, but with no contact showing and apparently no strong suspicion for the inspects or for the fingerprints. Just like not caring to sell out on watching that white microfilm when there was other things to be watching.
And that ties us up at 4 as we step into Aquarium, the home of shenaniganry. Nebula on the spy versus Ada on the sniper, all tied up in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yes, indeed. Aquarium is certainly a venue. There are lots of interesting things you can do here using the shark as cover in a otherwise very open venue. But, you can know your shark timings, you can come up with all sorts of interesting things, and I'm hoping we're going to see something as clever as the stuff that Nebula pulled out in that one Redwoods game.
Absolutely. Starting on bottom shark is certainly something people are going to be keeping in mind as we step into conversation with the double agent. I suspect we're not going to take it right away, but maybe if a few people file into conversations, we might.
We did get a animation transfer at our starting place in the green books, so Nebula may be hoping to repeat his success from the last spy game he won with animation transfers.
Absolutely. But first things first, it's time to get a little bit of progress on this flirt. So stepping into conversation here, it's 34% on a close white test. So not too much progress there, but not too much time spent for it, and away we go to the bar.
I believe this is the first time we've actually seen a player go to the bar this set on Modern and Redwoods. Actually, we've had 2 bar venues, and the spies have not been interested in getting a drink on either of them.
Yeah, it's been intriguingly sparse from the spy side, the bar visits, but we do have one this time around, and back into conversation with the seduction target brings us up to 62%, which is 2% short of where you want to be.
Yeah, hopefully we will be seeing excellent. Okay, well, we're just moving closer to get us in a better position for the next one, give us a chance of. Oh no, just to delegate to our ST. Okay, interesting. Let's see how this goes.
And there with an empty bar too, so despite the amount of time spent on it, this should
We're
still
going in
come
for a
off.
microfilm finish while the purloin's happening. Very nice timing.
Yep,
And the
purloin
purloin's
has
happening,
come
so
off
you're not
indeed.
theoretically you're not watching microfilm right now, and that's exactly when Nebula's doing it. This is very
Also,
nicely
there's a shark in
timed.
the way.
That also helps quite a bit, yes. It doesn't look like there's a highlight on the taker, but not a highlight on anyone else. So it doesn't look like Ada's on top of who might have delegated to Duke here. If that's the case, Nebula's in a very good position because all we need is a contact or some other mission if we want to make this a silent game.
Absolutely. We've got the flirt done, we've got the transfer done, we've got the purloin done, we've got statues still available, contact still available, bugs still available, and the shark still available. So we will see what happens in the end of this game with 45 seconds to play.
Oh, I think, I hate to jinx it, but I feel like Nebula might be setting up for a shark walk on this contact to guarantee that he's not going to get shot if he is suspicious for the purloin or the transfer.
Well,
Yep,
it
he's
is
trying
bottom
for it.
shark.
Oh no, red test.
It is a red test, but it is going to be
Oh,
a
it doesn't
shark
matter
walk.
though because we're shark walking. Okay, well.
Nothing that can be done about it from Ada. A beautiful finish from Nebula on the bottom shark walking along. That shark is impenetrable with bullets. You physically cannot shoot that man.
Yep, that is it was a really excellently played game from Nebula. I find it unlikely that he would have been tried to be shot for that contact regardless. But, you know, just to seal the deal, he made sure that he did a shark walk.
And it worked out beautifully. Let's see if Ada can respond with a spy win of their own here in the land of shenanigans. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. And starting out in conversation with the double agent of all people. A little bit of an odd start, but we'll see if enough people file into conversations to make this worth it. It's not looking good right now.
Interesting highlights for Nebula. Not bar highlights as such, because Smallman took a drink and isn't highlight, so possibly some sort of pathing read on these characters that are going to bar, or maybe missing Small. Okay, well, Smallman's low lit now, so who knows?
Who knows indeed. Out to
Still
the
no
window.
progress from Ada. I hope this is going to be a time ad in that case. I mean, maybe it's a little too early, but also we have absolutely no progress, so maybe it's the time to start thinking about ways to change the time situation.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised Ada wasn't a little bit more aggressive going for flirts at the start of the game. They were certainly available, but Ada did not seem particularly interested. So a quick drop in at the green bookcase. Nothing doing with the book, so this is going to be just a slow enough
Fishing
start
for
to get low lit.
Yeah, okay. And I feel like Ada has to know that he's low lit. Like he has to know that there's no way that would be a highlight. Although with Nebula, you never know. You might have gotten highlight for some obscure pathing thing. But I feel like we are going to see some much faster progress from Ada in the confident knowledge that he is low lit.
And we're already starting to see that. A quick flirt and immediately steps away out to these statues at the back. Pair of inspects. And likely one more as he's eyeing up these other set of statues. And indeed, that's exactly where we're headed. So this is half the flirt done, the entire inspect done. And knowing that we're low lit, still 2 minutes left to play. This is some beautiful stuff.
Yeah, we're potentially one flirt and, you know, potentially one flirt away from finishing that mission. We've got a contact, and then something else. You can always do things with Amba isn't polite enough to stick around for the fun little cross convo bug, which I'm sure Ada would have been happy to take if the Amba had obliged. But fingerprints is also an excellent option. A pure Softail game when you're low lit is highly unlikely to be shot.
There's the second flirt, brings us up to 74%. We've got one print. We've got the inspects done. Out we go to the blue bookcase. Probably just going to take a book and go slam it.
Oh, prints. Even better. Okay, so now we have an option. We could walk with we're shark walking to the... Okay, we're...
Not even bothering to shark walk. We know we're low lit, so we're just going to go contact. The shot comes off, but it's not the right one. And Ada answers back beautifully.
Yeah, keeping it tied up very nicely. This is some really excellent SpyParty here. I'm so happy that this set is staying very, very close.
Both of these players have done absolutely fantastically so far on both sides of the game. The spy play has been brilliant. The sniper play has been just as brilliant. Even that game, a low light for some obscure little pathing thing that almost no one can see. But either way, it works out for Ada. It's 5-5 going into Terrace, 3 of 7. Nebula on the spy in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, Nebula perhaps signaling with this spy choice that he would like to go back to his plan of bug always, bug often, don't get caught for it, win the game. Sorry, known for having a very excellent standing bug, which could be very powerful on Terrace.
Absolutely, it can be, but right now it looks like we're just setting up for the briefcase in a non-horrible position for the flirt, but a green test only nets us 40%. Not what you would ideally like to see, but definitely might be able to get some briefcase shenaniganry off, or maybe even a sip and a bug if we're able to find a moment to twitch just a little bit closer. Nebula is not going to, is just going to step away to the other conversation and say hi to the double agent. Oh no, it's going to be a delegate.
With a nice quick stop talk afterwards to hopefully avoid suspicion for this delegate. We'll see how well it works. Oh,
And
it doesn't take any time. Interesting.
The bar has been busy, but was able to find a way to get it done with no one at the bar at the time, which is almost great timing, but unfortunately not quite able to get it off before the timer expires. There's the next flirt, another close green, this one brings us to 91%. Double agent comes in to say hi as well, so if a couple more people filter into these conversations, then that should be a contact.
It looks like Ada's really on top of these bar highlights. Brought down Nebula like got to be less than 5 seconds after the purloin expired. So keeping a really close tack on the purloin delegates, and probably a good thing that it didn't go off. It seems like Nebula probably would have gotten shot, or at least it would have been very tightly narrowed down. And weird time for contact. You could contact to frame yourself. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, that's certainly an odd one. Contact does come off, lets off a couple of lowlights, but
yeah, a couple people joining the conversation just as it comes off, and one of them appropriately getting a low light for it, and we just don't have a lot of mission progress.
Or time. There's a fake contact coming off
much.
To try
that
to throw things off a little bit.
There's
the bug!
That helps.
There's the bug!
Okay,
it's going to be the contact! We're gonna have overtime!
I feel like we get
shot.
Does
the shot come off? The shot does come off. It was a beautiful last-ditch effort by Nebula, but Ada, on top of things, gets the shot off in dramatic fashion as well.
Banana bread.
Yeah, I appreciate the effort by Nebula to at least reach Mission Win Countdown to get into overtime and to force Ada to actually have the correct shot here. And, really nice stuff here. Just a shame that it was a little too late to avoid overtime. I don't know whether we would have gotten shot for that if that all hadn't triggered overtime, but very strong attempt by Nebula.
That bug was so nice. There was a little bit of an animation break on the way out, but the bug itself was just pretty.
The bug is gorgeous. It's shame about the flirt pacing. I think it's complicated because there were only a few people with real, so maybe we would have gotten shot just for being sorry and taking that bug path, but certainly the overtime made it a lot more obvious.
If we were close enough on the first flirt to get 51%, that game is done.
Yeah, it seems very likely, yeah.
Either way, another brilliantly played game on both sides. Ada, this time stepping into the spy side of Terrace with a chance to get themselves a proper lead for the first time this set versus Nebula's sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Lucky break from the AI, already taking us in a direction we want to go to get our flirt, and Nebula taking very standard bar highlights here. Let's see if this comes down on Ada now that he's walking away. Not coming down. Interesting.
Yeah, Ada stepping away before picking up a drink and thus before picking up a delegate. Highlight is still there, as you were saying. 34% off of the flirt at the bar and now in conversation with the double agent. And a lot of people are starting to filter into these conversation circles.
We're right next to the AMPA, but it's being watched with absolute, hawk. Yeah, there we go.
It was definitely being watched.
The story of this set really is try to take a bug. It looks really solid, but then you get shot for it anyway.
Banana bread.
Yeah, unfortunately, just a couple of inches too far back, and that arm just clipped through the ambassador in a way that you really do not want to happen when your back is to the sniper. Still tied up. Now 6-6 going into gallery. Any 4 of 8. It's Nebula back on the spy side versus Ada's sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Ooh, starting in the back here, I want to see a cheese. I want to see us take this and run it. Yes! Beautiful. Okay, let's see if Ada's on top, and yes.
Oh my god! This is entertaining SpyParty.
Yeah, this set is the perfect example of, yes, it's mostly Sniper Party, but also that doesn't mean it's not fun to watch. It's still very fun. The spies are doing interesting things, and the snipers are immediately shooting them for it.
Yes! It truly is a joy to watch. All right, now Ada on the spy, Nebula on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. Do it again. Oh, okay, fine.
I do love that early cheese, because it's like, it's one more thing that the sniper has to be giving attention to in those chaos moments, and if they're not on top of it, then you get a free mission, and that's usually a win. Now, it's gallery, it's perhaps one of the places where it's least of a confirmed win of the 4 of 8 venues, but a free mission is a free mission,
Yeah, absolutely. You really do not want to be giving stuff like that up. It's hard. As you say, it's a little bit easier on this venue than most, but it is really hard to come back from giving away a Time of Chaos mission. Especially because most of those missions don't leave a trace.
Yes, exactly. It's like
speaking
you have
of a trace,
idea.
The list is gone. We have a highlight on Ada.
And we're shot. Yeah, okay.
Banana bread.
Just instantly the bullet comes off. Oh, this is so fun.
Yeah, this is how this goes. It's like you try a thing, presumably hoping for a green test there, which will obviously be generally stronger, but it's like you try a thing, you see if they shoot you for it. Usually they shoot you for it, but sometimes you get away with it. And like, as we've seen, it's like, one spy game is very likely going to make or break this set.
Now we step into library. We're starting to get down to brass tacks here. We're getting towards the end of it. This is the last set of regulation. As we step into library, any 5 of 8, Nebula on the spy, Ada on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Last 2 games, and Nebula has pressed the emergency Smallman button.
Yep, we're getting a Chaos Time ad. I like it. If you're playing Smallman, play Smallman. Yep, known for his very quick time ads, among other things, like being very small. But among, the many benefits.
Yes. That being said, this is not one of Smallman's stronger venues. He can certainly get away with some stuff here, but everyone can get away with some stuff here. And the way the cover shakes out in this venue, it just doesn't give Smallman as many opportunities as other venues do.
Yeah, you can still do cheeky Smallman stuff. You have to work a lot harder for it. You have to take very careful positions in conversation. You have to prepare for it. You don't just get free things because of convo crowding. Because generally speaking, Smallman benefits a lot from sort of conversation cover, lots of other kinds of cover too, but there's not a lot of opportunities for conversation cover on library because of the very sort of not deep nature of the venue. There aren't things behind the conversations as much.
Speaking of conversations, Nebula was a little bit farther away than one would normally like for that first flirt for 30%, but was able to hit the green on the second on the timer flirt to bring us up to 75, which is a pretty good place to be. Still here in this conversation, now in conversation with the double agent as well, as he's decided to come say hi. So we've used a lot of time, but we're getting some reasonable progress for it. Unfortunately, Double Agent steps away before we're able to do anything with that. So, using this time ad to the full extent by just not doing things.
Yep, letting the rest of the party accumulate threat and suspicion, letting perhaps fingerprints build up, taking the temperature of the party, seeing who might be people to frame or to do things when they're doing things. But still, I think you
And
could say
also-
definitely a little behind pace at this point.
I agree, but it's hard to overstate how big it can be to just show Smallman not doing things.
Indeed.
That can absolutely give the sniper a bit of a false sense of security around that particular character. But we have spent a lot of time in this spot.
Yeah, it looks like we're looking to finish up flirt before doing anything. The ST is very rude. DA is available, but it's a decent time for contact. And SDA's out. Nebula has no way of knowing that. Oh, we're doing
Nebula
some
steps
smaller things.
away.
I
Are we
think.
going to get some cheese?
Yeah,
We are going to get some cheese. Gets the book and gets away.
And rejoins behind the pillar. We'll have to see how behind the pillar this is. But this could be very
powerful. Gets over to the green bookcase while Ada is over at the blue. So I think none of this book's travels have been on screen.
Okay, this is very nice. Nebula showing off some more microfilm cheese here. Perhaps having identified it as a weakness of Ada or just liking doing those kinds of plays. And ooh, green time ad, I like it. We'll
Second time out of the game.
Doesn't look like there's any notice being taken of that. Although we're coming back to Windows as Smallman, which, if it gets noticed late, that could be pretty dangerous.
That could be pretty dangerous indeed, but the green time ads are a lot less likely to be noticed than the whites are.
This is okay. We're going to another book. For print. Okay, that explains it. I was like, this is a weird place to be if you're looking for mission progress, but a difficult book print is powerful. So we've got a bunch of pretty traceless, non-suspicious things going on, and more time than the sniper thinks to play with them. I'm curious how we're going to finish this off. If we're going to, presumably we're going to go for prints. I'm curious if we're going to go for inspects or contact or what else. Okay, we're just going for time ads. We're just going to win on time ads. Okay.
That's a... See, there's been a lot of shenaniganry going on with Nebula this round, but it hasn't been Smallman shenanigans. It's just catching Ada's rotations and doing some sneaky shenanigans.
Yeah. Really nice play so far, and Nebula taking full advantage of being Smallman with the fast watch checks, and briefcase mostly behind pillar too, which could be nice for totally legal put down behind the... Oh, okay. I hope we weren't credited for bug there, because we didn't even try to take it. But we are highlight now. Hopefully that's just for fingerprint.
We do have the 3 mission completions at this point, just under 1 minute and 30 to play. Bug is still available, Contact is still available, but...
Inspect is still available. So the question you gotta ask yourself is, as Nebula, is, do I die if I contact and go to statues in whatever order? And, okay, we're just like, okay.
Good lord!
Oh, this is very fun. You know what? I love this both as a it might genuinely win him the game, and also as a if it doesn't win you the game, you expect library to be split by the snipers, and then Ada's having to play, an extra 5 minutes of sniping that gets really exhausting, and then maybe Ada's a little extra exhausted when you go into overtime. So, and also it seems to be doing on pair. Like, we're not shot yet. And I don't know if we're going to get shot on contact. I mean, if we took this contact, probably it's not great, but
You could really see Ada staring down that swap, trying to make sure nothing untoward was going on that statues. Sniper timer at 14, Spy at 1 minute. By the
so
way,
Sniper, now well aware that there is a green time ad happening, and, a heuristic one might use is if you see that there's been a bunch of time ads and you don't know who did it, and Smallman's
probably
not
Smallman.
absolutely hard loaded, it's
Banana
probably
bread.
Smallman.
There it is. There's the contact.
Yep,
How
we're
does
kind of
Ada
behind
react to this? It's a
pillar.
bunch of
Let's
lowlights.
see.
That means there's probably no shot coming.
No shot
Does
coming.
he see anything? It's going to be a short overtime as the sniper's timer runs dry, but it doesn't matter. Nebula is able to get away with it and gets themselves a match point.
Yeah. Really, really nicely played. Really, really fun game to watch there. And I think we were not actually as much of a suspect as we thought, because when the overtime happened, it was not an instantly snap to Smallman and shoot Smallman. Although maybe being behind the pillar helped there. But really nicely played by Nebula, doing traceless missions and soft tells and lots of time adds as Smallman. That's a really fun library game.
And now Ada just has to stay calm and not be on tilt as they go into this final game of library. Ada on the Spy, fighting for overtime. Nebula on the Sniper, fighting for the win in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I am so interested to see if Ada can fight back with this, because library is a really hard venue to win on as Spy, especially against a sniper of Nebula's caliber, as he's shown himself to be an incredibly strong sniper. So I am hopeful that Ada can pull it off and take us to overtime, but it's going to be a heck of a challenge.
Ada has had some beautiful Spy games this set, but it all comes down to this. If you've got to make it happen when you're under the gun, if you only have one game to do it, it's not easy to do. First flirt is 51%, but we're not in an advantageous position afterwards.
We do have our SD come back to us a slightly unfortunate position, but we take the opportunity to flirt and bail. I don't think the laser particularly saw that, so that's basically just a free flirt with absolutely no suspicion put on us, hopefully. So,
absolutely. You love to see little moves like that. That brings us up to 81% on the flirt, so it wasn't great positioning, but when the flirt is basically free, you'll take any flirt that you can get. 3 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock. We're standing in a lot of conversations that aren't very useful to us, although we might be able to try some purloin shenanigans here.
Yeah, we are sort of in a position to take advantage of things, although Purloin can be a rough mission to do as your, not even second, but first here, because it can narrow down the party so tightly if your sniper's on top of it, which you have to assume with snipers of this caliber that they're aware of who put Purloin here. We do get our flirt finished.
Yep, flirt is getting done. 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to play and no other progress. This is not going very well time-wise for Ada.
Dead
Picks up an empty
briefcase.
briefcase as well, no prints.
And forced to, okay, that's probably fine. Ambassador starting to read there means that you got to put down the briefcase immediately. And I think that was, not odd enough to be noticed necessarily. It doesn't look like we're getting a highlight or anything for it, but still a waste of time with no mission progress and no clear path to finishing in sight.
It's not looking good for Ada. Under 2 minutes to play and still no progress other than the flirt. In conversation with the double agent now, so we might be able to get the contact done, but
We've also
lots
been
of
seeing,
movement going on around the party, and Ada doesn't
Yeah.
want to take it. Into the yellow bookcase we go.
and we've also been seeing a whole lot of pathing lowlights from Nebula, narrowing down this party in O. Well,
That is not how you want to finish up. Oh, that's a shame. It's like he felt the safety come off and
yeah, I mean, well, when you see the laser snap over to you and you're doing a white microfilm, you know what's gonna happen. At least we get to see the fun animation that happens when you interrupt a transfer. You don't see that too often, so that's fun.
yeah, it looked like he like arched his back to try to dodge a bullet that wasn't quite coming yet.
Yeah, those animations, they're a lot of fun, and they're not ones you see often. I would highly recommend going into practice mode and checking them out for each character, because they are entertaining and quite dramatic, and it's unlikely that you will ever see them in real sets, but because they're very obvious and dramatic. But yeah, so we get that fun little bit of trying to, dance around the bullet, but no real hope there.
Speaking
Sad.
of dramatic, what an incredible set. Huge congratulations to Nebula for taking that one home in dramatic fashion. A brilliant Smallman game on Library to get that last win they needed.